Hello all, welcome to the new Simply Put series by Kalam IAS Academy. This is Priyanka Mahapatra, faculty at Kalam IAS. So today we'll be having a discussion on the newspaper dated 26th of February 2024. So coming to the text and the context section of the Hindu newspaper, one article was there about the surrogacy rules being modified that we have discussed already in the yesterday's discussion. Then comes the explain section of the Indian Express newspaper. Two articles were important from our exam point of view. First is regarding the consumption survey and second is regarding the changes in the electricity rules that boosted to the rooftop solar power. So these are the two articles which we are going to discuss today are displayed on your screen. So the first article is about the household consumption expenditure survey of this year. So for the very first time in about 11 years that the government has released this data of all India household consumption expenditure survey. So here we need to know everything about this survey, which is important from our prelims point of view. So traditionally it was a survey that was recurring every 5 years and it was conducted by National Statistical Office. This you need to remember from your prelims point of view. And which information does it collect? From which areas? Does it cover both urban and rural areas or either of them? So it collects information on consumption spending patterns of households across the country covering both the urban and the rural areas. So this also you need to remember from your prelims point of view. Again, it also covers the average expenditure on goods, that is food and non-food items, and the services as well. So this also becomes a part of question for your prelims examination. So let's now discuss one by one all the details of this survey which can become a part of your question in the prelims exam. So first is regarding the share of spending on food in India and how it has changed over the last 20 odd years. So from this survey, we can know that the share of expenditure on food, it has gradually declined. It has gradually declined for both urban and the rural households. Okay, here we need to understand a popular thought that if you spend less on food, if you're spending less on food, then it means that you're spending more money somewhere else on other things, from consumer durables to clothing to footwear to your health to petrol or diesel for your vehicle or even for your entertainment purpose. Okay, and see this share of expenditure on food, it has gradually declined. From the table you can see that how from 1999 to 2000, coming to 2022-23, it has declined in the rural areas. It was as high as 59% in the year 1999 to 2000 and now it has come down to below 50%, that is 46.38%. Similarly, in the urban areas, this share has also declined. It was 48.06% in the year 1999 to 2000. Now it has come to 39%. Okay, so for the very first time that the expenditure on food, it has fallen to less than 50% of the total consumption expenditure in both rural and the urban areas. Okay, so precisely if we say that it has come down to less than 50% in the rural areas and less than 40% in the urban areas. Okay, this has become for the first time. So coming to within the foods where the money is going. Now the spending is on the high value or the nutritional items. Okay, so we are spending more on high value nutritional items like eggs, fish and meat, fruits and vegetables. This has gone up more in the rural households. You need to remember this also from your prelims perspective. Okay, in rural households, people are now expending more on nutritional items like eggs, fish and meat, fruits and vegetables than in the urban households over the last 2 decades. And the expenditure on the cereals similarly has gone down. Okay, you can see it in the table that how in 1999 in rural areas, the expenditure on cereals, it was 22% and now it has come down to only 4.91%. Similarly, in the urban areas, it was 12% in the year 99 2000, but now it has come down to only 3.64%. So the expenditure on cereals, it has come down and the spending has gone up for more nutritional items and it has gone up all the more in the rural households in India. Then comes the next question, that is there any need to review the inflation basket? Okay, yes, there is a need for review. There are so many anomalies found here. We'll discuss them. So over the period of 11 years, as the latest household consumption expenditure survey has shown, a lot has changed because we are still deciding on the data with respect to year 2012. So this CPI based inflation, also called as retail inflation, is still based on a basket of goods and services which is decided in 2012. And after that, a lot has changed. And coming to what is inflation, it is calculated based on the changes in the price levels of items in a large basket. Okay, and this basket of goods should ideally represent the consumption patterns of all the households in the current point of time. But a lot has changed since 2012, so we need to review this basket of goods. We can see many anomalies. For example, in case of rural areas, the CPI rural basket assigns a weightage of 12% to the cereals and products. But the recent survey has shown that rural households, they only spend around 4.9% on the cereals. So this is a mismatch happening. Again, coming to the share of expenditure on food in the rural households, it is 46%, but 54% has been given weightage according to 2012 data, which is much higher than what a rural consumer now is spending. So these are the anomalies which are found uh, with respect to the survey. So we need to review the inflation basket. Second point is that the RBI decides to increase or decrease the policy rate based on this retail inflation. So if the RBI is guided by wrong data, then it will most likely delay any action on the interest rates. This is another problem to arise. Then we come to the difference between the imputed and non-imputed average monthly per capita expenditure. Here we are talking about the free items that the population is receiving through government schemes or welfare schemes. So here we will consider the bottom 5% of the population, and we have seen here that their consumption expenditure is rising up when they are receiving any free items from the government. So this bottom 5% of the population, their consumption expenditure is rising up, it is going up when they are receiving any free items from the government compared to the rural group that is not receiving any free items. So what does it imply? It implies that whatever free items are given through the welfare schemes, through the government schemes, that is kind of helping to increase the spending power of the poorest individuals in the rural areas. It is boosting their consumption expenditure. It is improving their standard of living and allowing them to access more essential goods and services. Then we come to the states which have a lower standard of living compared to the national average. So here from the survey we get to know that the monthly per capita expenditure, it is highest in the state of Sikkim in both rural and the urban areas, and lowest in the state of Chhattisgarh in both rural and the urban areas. And coming to the lower quality of life, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan and UP, they have offered a quality of life which is lower than most of the Indian states or UTs. Okay, so these are the details we must know from our exam point of view. See, here it is not important to remember these correct facts, but we need to understand the trends. For example, we need to understand that how the spending on the food items, it has decreased. Okay, and which states have got the lowest standard of living? We need to understand that how, with the support of the free items, the consumption expenditure has gone up. So these trends we need to understand and remember from our prelims point of view. Then we come to the second article about the three ways in which the newly amended electricity rules, they have boosted up the rooftop solar power. It has empowered consumers and the owners. So why news? Because recently the Ministry of Power, it has notified the amendments to the Electricity Rights of Consumer Rules 2020 to accelerate the installation of the rooftop solar projects and to empower consumers with provisions on connections in the residential societies and solving complaints on the meter readings. So these are the three areas where the amendments have been brought about. Okay, first is regarding the installation of the rooftop solar projects. Second is regarding the connections given to the residential societies, and third is regarding the solving of complaints on the meter readings. So first, it has reduced the timeline for getting any new electricity connections. Now the DISCOMs are no longer required to complete a technical feasibility study before accepting an application to begin the installation of the solar panels. And now the timeline has also been reduced from 30 days to 15 days with respect to the installation and the commissioning of the rooftop solar projects. So this timeline, which was between the installation and commissioning of the rooftop solar projects, it was 30 days before, but now it has been reduced to 15 days only, right? So this is how we have reduced the timeline for getting any new connection. Secondly, that the electric vehicles, they have been mentioned for the first time in the rules. That means it is requiring the DISCOMs to provide a separate connection of an EV charging point if any consumer is requesting, and that too it would be given within only 3 days. Okay, so this is again a very welcome step. Then again, it is empowering the consumers in the residential societies as well. How? So individual connections are now possible to be given to each house or flat owner, provided more than 50% of the owners opt for it, right? So this is another welcome step in order to empower the consumers. And the DISCOMs can install an additional meter in case of consumer complaints of meter readings. Okay, when the consumer is complaining of meter readings not reflecting their actual consumption, DISCOMs can now install an additional meter. And this additional meter shall be used to verify the complaint for a minimum period of 3 months now, right? So these are the ways where the newly amended rules are boosting the consumers, boosting the rooftop solar power, and these amendments with respect to the rooftop solar power is in line with the PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, because this Yojana aims to provide households with a subsidy of up to 40% to install the rooftop solar panels, which is expected to benefit 1 crore households and help save around 75,000 crore per year in electricity costs. So this was all about today's discussion. The short notes of this video discussion will be provided to you in our Telegram channel, that is Kalam IAS Academy. Do join our channel with the link provided in the description box for all the important posts and updates. Thank you so much.